Welcome back, you Washington football maniacs. I'm your host, Brandon Scott. So the subject matter tonight is, should the Washington Commanders take a look at JJ McCarthy at number 2? I don't think so, but many people do. So let's talk about it next. So JJ McCarthy at 2. There's a lot of buzz right now going around the league that JJ McCarthy could indeed be in play at the number 2 pick. So definitely like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know who's your pick at number 2. Personally, is Jaden Daniels, but we're going to talk about it in a minute. But definitely consider becoming a member of the Washington Football Maniacs, man. We're a little crazy over here, man, but we like to have fun. So we got a lot of good content coming out. We're getting close to the draft, man. So definitely excited about the draft and getting into training camp and next season because, look, baseball's here. And after that, it's football time. So, again, JJ McCarthy, there are rumors out there that JJ McCarthy could indeed be at play at number 2. So the question is, and like I said, comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Excuse me. But at 2, what should we do at the second overall pick? You know, for a while, Jaden Daniels was linked to the organization, and if you look at talent, I'm kind of look at the pros and cons of both JJ McCarthy and Drake May and Jaden Daniels, and even Bo Nix to a certain degree. If we trade back, they all have their pluses, they all have their minuses, and I think regardless, we'll be all right because we first of all, we have a new owner. Dan Snyder is no longer polluting this franchise or the city anymore. So that's one kicker right there. But second, you have competency. You have a grown adult in the building now at GM who have shown, if you have seen how many signings he's made, that he's ready to, build his team up. And I definitely believe he will. And of course, a new spanking new coaching staff under Dan Quinn, and even with junior defensive coordinator, you have to be excited about this team going forward, man, with the next year or going forward for, next 10 years, man. And in my opinion, I think we're definitely going to be a better team. So looking at number 2, look at Jaden Daniels. Now, looking at Jaden Daniels, man, he is a game changer. Let's be real. Looking at the positives real quick before we get into the negatives, which are pretty obvious. Look, he can throw from the pocket. He can throw with accuracy. He can throw with power. He obviously is a dual threat quarterback, so he can run. He got the speed of a wide receiver. He's got IQ as a runner. He's got vision as a runner. I mean, he's a game changer. And obviously people compare him to dual threat running backs like former Washington Redskins / Washington. Well, he won a Commander. So Washington Redskins quarterback Robert Griffin III. But thing with RG3 was throwing from the pocket. To me, that gives him an edge already over a previous quarterback who was a similar player, right? What are the negatives? Obviously, look, his size is a concern for some people, which looking back at another player like Emmanuel Forbes, that was my big concern with him is with his size, is he going to be able to take down these running backs, these tight ends, these bigger receivers like A.J. Brown? And then going back to Jaden Daniels, man, he's got to learn how to not absorb so many hits. Now, obviously, we have additions to our O-line. Now, is the O-line a finished product? No, it indeed is not. We still have some work to do with the O-line. But, looking at Jaden Daniels, man, I mean, he's electrifying. He is, in my opinion, he's a generational talent. Him and, definitely if you look at the top 3 quarterbacks or really top 2, you're looking at number 1 is Caleb Williams and 1A is Jaden Daniels because he's that good. And he got better year after year coming from Arizona State to transfer to LSU. And he doesn't have a lot of giveaways, man, as far as interceptions. He plays safe football. So I get it. The size, he's a tweener. He definitely needs to add some muscle. He definitely needs to learn how to slide, avoid getting hit. That would be big pluses for him. But, I mean, that's my choice at number 2. You got to go Jaden Daniels. But slide into J.J. McCarthy, man. I mean, can you necessarily go wrong with J.J. McCarthy? Well, maybe not necessarily, because here's the thing. If you look at the previous team under Adam Peters, man, Brock Purdy is your perfect, system quarterback. And under the right system, that with Cliff Kingsbury, they're going to throw the ball. Now, obviously, Cliff Kingsbury, as opposed to Eric Bieniemy, is probably going to get a lot more of the running backs involved, especially when you got Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson. You definitely have to get the ground game involved and Rodriguez. But, could this be the right system for J.J. McCarthy? Because there's been a lot of buzz with Minnesota moving up to get him. A lot of buzz. So let's take a look at his stats. And the 2023 season started off 15 games, 15-0 record, throwing for 2,991 yards, averaging 9 yards a throw, 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So again, kind of like Jaden Daniels, he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. Now, looking at the ground game, obviously, if you compare him to Jaden Daniels, his ground, rushing yards, 202 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's not going to run the ball a lot. He does have the capability to do so, but he's going to be more of a pocket guy, a system guy, a West Coast guy. So, I mean, could he succeed in DC? Absolutely. Because I'll be real with you guys. Obviously, we all have our preferences, right? Obviously, I just said that Jaden Daniels is my guy, and there's been a lot of buzz, with could Drake May be that guy? If they trade back, could Bo Nix be that guy? And I think that under all 4 quarterbacks, you can find success because like I said, you finally have adults in the building in DC. Dan Snyder's gone. Josh Harris is going to put money, the time, the effort into this franchise for it to be a contender again. Adam Peters, look, if he hasn't already impressed you, he's going to go out there and make the right moves. Because look, if you like what he did as far as free agency, you're going to love what he's going to do with the draft, in my opinion. Because like I said, very pivotal piece to San Francisco being who they are, and even go back to New England days. So he brought a lot of knowledge from both of those organizations, and he's going to do well. And Dan Quinn, like I get it. He wasn't ever anybody's first pick. Maybe a few people at head coach. Obviously, Ben Johnson, a few other people. But look, he wasn't too shabby in Atlanta. And if your biggest concern or criticism of him is he lost a Super Bowl game, he got him there. Dan Quinn's going to be a heck of a head coach for this team. He really is. I mean, Joe Witt Jr., I'm very intrigued to see what he does with this defense, man, because he's going to snap them into shape, man. So I'm definitely looking forward to training camp. And Cliff Kingsbury, man, obviously as a head coach, and that's a whole nother conversation, but as a coordinator, he never, everywhere he goes, he impresses. So I think he's going to whip this offense into shape, man, and you're going to see a completely different offense. But getting into Drake May, could Drake May be that option in number 2? So let's take a look at his stats real quick, because like I said, with Jaden Daniels and J.J. McCarthy, you're getting 2 quarterbacks who do not commit a lot of turnovers, high football IQ. Drake May, looking at his stats from 2023 at the University of North Carolina, he started 12 games, throwing for, and he actually took a step back a little bit as far as passing. He definitely took a step back this year. Well, he did, 2 less games played, so that's a big reason. But compared to 4,321 yards in 2022, he threw for 3,608 yards in 2023, as opposed to 38 touchdowns in 2022. He threw 24 touchdowns with 9 interceptions last year. So, interceptions, is not over 10. He's not an extravagant number, but is that something he has to work on? Definitely. His reads are something to work on, but there are concerns with him at the number 2. But here's the thing: I'm in a position here, everybody, that no matter who they put at quarterback, unless they decide to roll with Mariota, I mean, I'd be like, Lord have mercy. But out of these 4 quarterbacks, man, I'm going to get behind whoever's behind center. They've got my support. But here's the thing: I mean, this is a really deep quarterback draft. So, like I said, a lot of people think that Jaden Daniels is that guy because just the talent level. But J.J. McCarthy, could he succeed in DC? I'm gonna say yeah. Now, obviously, a lot of people ain't gonna be happy with him being at number 2 as opposed to Jaden Daniels, considering dual threat. He can run, he can do other things. And like I said, J.J. McCarthy, he's not Randall Cunningham, but he's going to be able to stretch plays out if need be. But that's not his calling card. But another question is, what if we trade back and get Bo Nix? Would he succeed in DC? Let's take a look at his stats real quick. And like I said, I don't think a lot of people put a lot of respect on Bo Nix, and I don't know why, because at 6'2", 217 pounds, this kid has got the body and the mind to play in the NFL, in my opinion. He played 3 years in Auburn, 2 years at Oregon. His last year as an Oregon Duck, he started 14 games with a 12-2 record, throwing for 4,508 yards, 45 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So he threw more touchdowns than Jaden Daniels did at LSU, and he had the same amount of interceptions. So could we trade back, go get a high-level left tackle, and go get a quarterback who can be our starting quarterback in the future? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I'm saying this is kind of the theme of the video, which is at number 2, you can't go wrong. We are in a good position. We have the position, we could go get a game changer in Jaden Daniels. We can go take a stretch. Not really a stretch, but a pick that not a lot of people would expect at J.J. McCarthy as a system guy. as a West Coast guy, as a guy who's a game manager. But, you know, even with Drake May, does he have things to work on? But the talent's there. The size is there. I mean, he's got size like Josh Allen. And Josh Allen ain't easy to bring down. I'm just trying to tell you. But if we decide to trade back, get more picks, go get a left tackle, and go get Bo Nix can play football, people. Bo Nix is not a scrub. So you got to consider that too. So in closing, what do I think that the Washington Commanders are going to do? And I thought I knew. I thought that all arrows were pointing towards Jaden Daniels being that guy. It very well could be. Because here's the thing. In the realm of GMs and in these front offices, smoke and mirrors is the name of the game. And that's why they're going to shoot different messages here and there about what the preference is all the way up to the day of the draft. And that's just is what it is, because it's a Game of Thrones pretty much. You know, it's always the smoke and mirrors. And, you know, you're not going to get a clear picture unless you're Chicago, obviously. And if you're Chicago, you got to take Caleb at number 1. But outside of that, a lot can happen with the draft. And so, to me personally, if I'm Adam Peters, I'm drafting Jaden Daniels. I'm going to go ahead and draft Jaden Daniels because, like I said, there are, you know, looking at Joe Alt, looking at Fashanu at Penn State, you have high-level left tackles that I think we could definitely use on his own line and definitely be the left tackle of the future, because daggone it, I miss Trent Williams. But, you know, quarterback-wise, we don't lose. You know, if you trade back Bo Nix again, if you look at the statistics, if you look at the level of competition, man, obviously the Pac-12 is not the SEC, but he could play. He could come in and be a starter. And, you know, so I think we don't lose, but right now with the reports coming out with J.J. McCarthy, do you read too much into it? I'm going to say no. But I would say this, at this point, it definitely appears that Jaden Daniels and J.J. McCarthy are the two front runners at number 2. Now, not to say that Drake May is not in the mix, but J.J. McCarthy impressed a lot of people, especially if you look at his level of competition, the Big Ten at Michigan, winning the national championship. He's got pedigree, man. So, which way am I going? I'm going Jaden Daniels. But comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Who you guys rolling with number 2? Are you going with Jaden Daniels, or are you going with J.J. McCarthy, or are you going with Drake May? Are you trading back for Bo Nix? Definitely let me know what you guys are thinking, and we definitely going to chop it up. So, like, again, definitely appreciate you guys, man. Like I said, we have a lot of good content coming your way, getting close to the draft, man. I believe we are a month away from the NFL draft. So, like I said, this team is going to be looking to be very, very active in the draft. So, again, appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you rocking with me like always. So, hail to the Commanders and peace. See you guys next time.